Okay, so we're going to get started with our presentation about our Wild Roots summer camps. Thank you for being here in the live version, and also if you're joining us in the recording. Again, we are talking about our Wild Roots summer camps options, and if you are here in the live portion, you can be entered to win a free week of camp. So thank you for being here. If you're here for the recording, you will also receive the discount code that everyone who is here for the live and here for the recording, you'll receive the discount code at the end. Okay, so we're here. Thank you for being here this morning on this beautiful Saturday morning. I get to be outside today and it's lovely. We are glad you're here today. We're going to be talking about our Wild Roots summer camps and our Q&A at the end. So we'll do some information, then we'll do a Q&A. Feel free to put all of your questions in the chat. Kirsten's going to be monitoring the chat, and then at the end when we get to the Q&A, we can answer them all live. So feel free to do that. If you are watching the recording, please do save any questions that you have, and you can email us directly so that way we can respond to any questions that you have. But hopefully we can answer them all here today. All right, let's get started. Well, hello, I am Michael. I'm Michael Miller. I am the founder, the executive director of Wild Roots Nature-Based Learning. I have been a teacher for 14 years. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, and so that's my life's passion. I am also a lower Montessori trained teacher, which means I taught lower Montessori for about 10 years. Absolutely love Montessori, and that fits well with my teaching philosophy and how I choose to teach, even in the traditional classroom, my preference on how I teach children. I'm also forest school trained, and when I was teaching at the Montessori school I was teaching at, I even did outdoor learning every single Friday with my students, which means we took what we were learning in the classroom into the woods and did outdoor education where we combined both of those components. Absolutely loved it, and my students flourished in all things, because when kids get their hands involved, they're able to really have lots of built background knowledge and be able to fully apply what they're learning outside to what they're learning inside as well. Additionally, with that forest school training, I also led about 4 years worth of nature-based summer camps all summer long at the school I was teaching at the time. And every single one of those nature summer camps was actually waitlisted. We went, everybody who wanted to be in, we actually always ended up with a waitlist. So I usually extended that to other people. So when people ask me, have I ever done this before? Well, Wild Roots is a brand new nonprofit, but I've been doing this for many, many years, and I absolutely love it. Then additionally with that, because I was taking kids out in the woods, I knew that there were so many kids in Fort Wayne who were not getting the opportunity to be in the woods, who were not getting the opportunity to have nature-based education. And I wanted to open that up to everyone here in Fort Wayne, especially to the families who really wanted that. Additionally, I'm STEAM trained, which my focus, I love talking about engineering and the engineering design process and allowing children to really learn how that works and be able to help them identify problems, how to solve those problems, and then when things don't go well, how to adjust and reflect and refine so that they can be able to enjoy the full process and come out with an end product that they're happy with. I love to be able to incorporate all types of STEAM in my teaching style, and especially in our nature-based education. Additionally to all of my career parts, I'm also a wife for my amazing husband, Kyle. We've been married for 14 years, and we just did the math. We've been together for 19 years. We're high school sweethearts. Absolutely love him. He's my best friend. I wouldn't be able to be the person I am today without him. Along those lines, I also am a mom of 2 amazing kids. All of us in our family, the Miller family, we are neurodivergent. We have lots of different things in terms of the autistic spectrum as well as ADHD. We love being able to just live life the way that we love in our family. We're really strong on communication and connecting with one another. But I wouldn't be able to be the teacher that I am if I weren't also the mom that I am. Finally, I'm Fort Wayne born and raised. I have chosen to live in Fort Wayne. We have chosen to make Fort Wayne our home. My husband is a state representative, and so we have actually chosen to make Fort Wayne our home to serve the community here. And I'm also offering that in this essence with Wild Roots in terms of the fact that Fort Wayne is lacking in nature-based education, and I want that to be something that Fort Wayne can have as well. All right, so that's about me. And then we can move on to the next thing. Let's talk more about Wild Roots and specifically about the summer camps. Okay, so with our summer camps, we actually have 4 different things, 4 different themes happening all summer. And just as a brief highlight, so we have nature plus art, nature plus theater, nature plus engineering, and then nature plus science. And then to dive in more deeply about what that looks like throughout the full summer, each week is specific on which theme. So week 1, which is June 2nd through the 6th, is nature and art. Then week 2 is June 9th through the 13th, is nature and theater. Week 3 is June 16th through the 20th, with nature and engineering. Then week 4, June 23rd through the 27th, which is nature and science. Week 5 is July 7th through the 11th, and nature plus art. So now we're repeating those same themes. So four weeks, and then we repeat those. We do skip the week of July the 4th. Week 6 is July 14th through the 18th with nature and theater. Then week 7, July 21st through the 25th with nature and engineering again. And then week 8, our final week is July 28th through August the 1st, nature to science. So it's really a full summer of all of these different weeks that we're offering camp. So now that we've kind of talked about the highlights of what the summer looks like, let's dig in even deeper to talk about each week specifically. I apologize. Before we do that, I want to make sure everyone knows that we have 3 different payment options with Wild Roots. We want to make sure that we are accessible to every person and every situation. So one option is that we can be able to pay the full price at checkout. We've also listened to the feedback we've received, and we've adjusted all of our prices. So we were at $190, we are now at $150, and that will not change. We will stay at $150. And then everything that additionally supporting other people, supporting people financially, will be additional supports after that $150. Another option we have is that if you would prefer to just pay in installments, you can do that at checkout so that you continue to pay the $150 price, but you offer it in you pay it in different installments. And then the third option is we actually offer scholarships. We offer partial scholarships if you would prefer to pay part of your camp. We also offer full scholarships. We do that because we are a nonprofit and we want to be here in the Fort Wayne community, making sure that everyone who wants nature-based education has the opportunity. And we have the nonprofit side where we collect donor money, we can collect grant money, and we can collect sponsorship money to help support everyone who's needing those scholarships. All right, so that is with the payment options. And then because we're the nonprofit, we also offer opportunities that if you would like to support, you can sponsor a student as well. And that way you can fully donate to help with that. Okay, now I think we're ready to dive into each week of camp. Okay, so when we're talking about Nature Plus Art Camp, that's week 1, June 2nd through the 6th, 2nd through the 6th of June. And so this is some things we might be doing during the week of camp with Nature Plus Art. We will be able to continue to explore nature. That's what we're going to do every single week. We're also going to be able to be creating with air dry clay. I have found that students love air dry clay. And air dry clay is super great because it's sticky enough that if they just want to use it as kind of an adhesive, like a little glue, they can use it to put things together. Like I've seen kids put sticks together to build like little houses, or they can even just use it as the medium itself. So then they add acorns to make a face or something like that. So kids love using air dry clay. I've also seen kids in my camps that I've done before where they make like a full tea set and then they're sitting in the woods having a little tea party. So we love being able to bring in air dry clay. Also with rock painting, that's really, really fun. We can be able to bring some rocks in, paint them, and then we can actually use that as a service project where kids can then scatter around Fort Wayne community. We love to do tie-dyeing. Kids love to do tie-dyeing. And so we're offering that every kid who comes to camp can be able to get a free Wild Roots shirt, and that week will be a white shirt, so then they can tie-dye it and add some color and then be able to have their own shirt. Because we're a nature camp, we also want to offer bird feeder crafting, so we can be able to make some bird feeders that the kids can then make at camp and then take to their house or to another person's house and have that bird feeder. And then because we're in nature, we love being able to play in the mud and being able to explore. And so we'll also practice being able to how to make mud, especially if it's a dry day. And then we can be able to sculpt on trees. We love to be able to make tree faces so that you walk through the woods and you see kind of different tree faces smiling back at you. So just a little small highlights of things we might be doing during our Nature Plus Art Camp. Again, specifically for week 1, really diving in here. This would be June 2nd through the 6th. We do our hours 8:30 to 3:30, which is normal if you're in a traditional type school. Those are normal school hours from like the pickup to the drop-off or drop-off to pickup time. So that helps accommodate what your current schedule might be with your children. to continue through the summer. Specifically, this camp will be located at Fox Island County Park. That's our host site for this camp and the partnership we have there. Again, our cost is $150. And then another change we've made listening to feedback is we're now extending our ages from 4 to 12 to just allow for more opportunities for different families. So that is specifically week 1. And then we have week 2. This one is specific on nature and theater. So many families often overlook the opportunity to do theater while in nature. I've done this before with students and it is amazing. I've had students using like a shower curtain rod where we tie it between 2 branches, and then they can have like that curtain that they pull back and they're presenting their full play. But for this week, we will be specifically exploring nature. We will also be reading different myths from indigenous cultures and that like specific to nature myths. And then they can be able to use those to help inspire them creating their own performance. When it comes to performances, certainly anyone who wants to actually perform and act out is great. But sometimes, this is my child, wanting to just create the costumes and create the props. That's still a major part of creating a performance or a theatrical drama. And so this is a part that we can explore as well too. But specifically for week 2, which would be June 9th through the 13th. Again, it's that 8:30 to 3:30. This will be held at Arrowhead Preserves. And we will have the full map that we can give you when you sign up so that you know exactly the directions to go to that. This would be a location that most people haven't heard of. It's still a part of Little River Wetlands Project as part of our partnership. Again, the cost is $150 and ages 4 to 12. Then our third week of camp is nature and engineering. If I'm being totally honest, this is my one I'm most excited about because I absolutely love the engineering design process. With this week of camp, we will be studying, we will be exploring nature, we'll be observing nature. We're also going to be studying and learning about biomimicry. And if you don't know what biomimicry is, it's the idea that we as humans can have a problem that we actually observe being solved in nature, and then we mimic that to try to solve that problem in real life. So we'll be observing nature and seeing how nature solves the problems. And then we're actually also going to be reading several different books about true engineers and how they do that. So watching animals, things that happen in nature, how does nature solve it, and how as we as people can solve the similar problem by observing that. I'm super excited about that one. We'll be reading different books and we will be creating different things. Additionally, because it's engineering week, we want kids to have their own opportunities to explore so they can be able to build their own small houses out of sticks, using, in this picture here, using large fallen logs to build huge shelters or forts. We can be able to also create by having little small little boats or something that would go across a waterway or a small creek. And then also having a practice in designing a pulley system. So if you were to be up in a tree, so we'll learn about how to properly climb a tree, and you may be up there, but your friend is down below. How could you do a pulley system to get your lunch or something up there? Absolutely love having kids eat lunch in trees. Okay, so that is our week 3. When digging a bit deeper as well, this week will be at Eagle Marsh Nature Preserve, again with our partnership with Little River Wetland Project. So that's at Eagle Marsh. Oh, I forgot to change this page. I apologize. The price is still $150. I just made a mistake there. So that is not accurate on that slide. I will change it later. Okay, so then diving into week 4, which is Nature Plus Science Camp. So anyone who's super interested in anything involving science, we're going to be studying 4 different life cycles this week. We're going to be studying life cycles as in the water cycle, life cycle as in geography, like the rock cycle. We'll also be studying the plant life cycle and the animal life cycle. So we'll observe the fact that the life cycles are all very similar in lots of different ways, but that each one has its own unique things. With that, we'll also create some crafts so that the kids can be able to fully enjoy the opportunities to learn about the life cycle and then experience it in their own way. And then we'll also just continue to be able to build. Oh, I just noticed that this is not the right slide either. I apologize. This still says engineering instead of the science part. So with that, with the science, nature and science camp, we'll be able to continue to explore, continue to observe, experience the water cycle and the plant life cycle all during camp. Okay, well, now I have 2 things I have to fix. So I'm glad that I'm presenting this now so I can see it in live. During the Nature Science Camp with week 4, that would be June 23rd through 27th. And this is our partnership with the Parks Department. And so we'll be at Buckner Park, which is off of Bass Road. And again, that price should be at $150. So now that we have explored each individual week specifically, this is just again the repeat. So we will skip the week of July 4th, give everyone a chance to take a break, and then we will repeat our same theme. So we'll back in the Nature Plus Art Camp. This week, week 5 is Nature Plus Art, but this time at Eagle Marsh. Again, the price is $150. Then we have the Nature Plus Theater Camp. This is week 6, July 14th. And that one will be at Arrowhead Preserves. And we have that 150 price, ages 4 to 12 here. And then we will go to the next one, which is Nature Plus Engineering Camp. And this one will be the week 7. It would be July 21st to 25th. And this one will be at Buckner Park. And then we have our last one, which is our Nature Plus Science Camp. And that one will be our final week, week 8, with July 28th through the August 1st. And this will be concluding at Fox Island. So our summer actually starts at Fox Island and ends at Fox Island, if you're wanting to do multiple camps during the summer. Okay, a little bit about our host sites. We don't need to watch this full video, but this is our host site with Buckner Park through the Fort Wayne Parks and Recreation. We have a partnership with them so that we can use their space and they can allow us to be there. This is a little video to show you how to get here off of Bass Road. This is the playground with the splash pad. And then you can see on the edges of the full property is all of the wooded space. The wooded space is open to the public and they are it. Sorry about that. So you can use us to use the space so that we can have this full wooded area to do our nature exploration and all of our studies for the weeks that we're at Buckner Park. All right, so now we'll skip to the next slide. Our next host site is also at Fox Island, and that is through our partnership with Allen County Parks. It is at this address here. And then here's a quick little video about Fox Island. Oh, this is mostly about the fact that Fox Island was really destroyed, which is a really important part. It was destroyed heavily through derecho. So a lot of Fox Island is still being recovered from it. And then along those same lines, so you can still see that devastation. Because of that, the woods looks a lot different. And so when we picked the camps that we're doing there, we are able to also talk about how the woods have been destroyed and areas that we're able to explore in while allowing it to also come back and be revitalized. And then our third partnership is with Little River Wetlands Project. They are a nonprofit local to Fort Wayne. One location is here at Eagle Marsh, and our other location is at the Arrowhead Nature Preserve. And this is just a quick little video about Eagle Marsh. We'll jump through. Again, it's open to the public and people are able to walk the trails. Eagle Marsh is gorgeous. In fact, that it has so many different, it has so much biodiversity. It has so many different types of ecosystems. It's like super exciting to be able to explore Eagle Marsh and see the prairie, the woods, the wetlands, the marsh, like all the different parts. So we'll be able to explore some of the woods and some of the wetlands areas. Okay, so those are about our host sites. A little blurb to let you know, during the academic school year, we will also be offering homeschooling classes. So stay tuned if you want to learn more about homeschooling offerings. Additionally, if you are wanting to know more about that, please do email us. You can email me directly at michael.miller@wildrootsinbl.com, or you can email Kristen at the team at wildrootsinbl.com to learn more about homeschool. We're still working on that, but that information should be getting out very soon about homeschooling. Okay, so now I've given you all the information from our slideshow. Made a few mistakes along the way, so I appreciate your patience with me. And we're going to kind of enter the Q&A part. Additionally, with that, we also have here the discount code. So if you are watching live or you're watching the recording, please do use that code. It's May Q&A. So when you use that discount code, it's available for 1 full week, so until Saturday, May 17th. So use that code. It will get you an additional $40 off. So again, our price point is now $150. If you use that code, you can use that code for every week that you purchase. So if you wanted to purchase 2 weeks, you would get $80 off total. If you wanted to purchase 2 weeks for 2 kids, that would be $40 off for each of those ones. So 40 times 4 would be $160 off. So the more you purchase, the more discount you also get. So you would get that discount code for the next full week, and that's going to lower your price even more. And then also when the Q&A is over, we will announce our winner for today to win a free week of camp. Okay, so I am not able to see anyone, and I'm going to move my screen so I can see. Okay. Kirsten, what questions do we have? I'm also going to get my notebook and my pen so that I can write anything down that if I need to come back to anyone, I can.
Thanks, Michael. I wanted to give a note for everyone who's with us live. As soon as this call is concluded, I'm going to, I'm pretty sure that the discount code is not fully set up properly, so I need to adjust it so that it will apply to every week of camp. So if you are trying to use it right now live with us, then just wait until the end of the call and I'll make sure that that's fixed. And in our email that goes out with the recording, that it will be fixed by then as well. So if you're watching the recording, the discount code should be all good to go. So we have not received any questions in the chat so far, but we do have some questions that people have been asking or were sent in advance that we'll go through. And if anybody has questions as we're going through these questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat and we will make sure that your questions get answered.
That sounds great. Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you. So the first question, if a parent has a child with a speech delay that experiences challenges with processing language, would Wild Roots Camp still be a good fit for them, and how would you go about supporting them?
That's a really great question. I love that answer. I love supporting students in all differing abilities. In my current classroom, I have some students with different abilities on the autistic spectrum and also in their cognitive abilities. And something that I love to do with all students is actually teaching them sign language. So we use sign language. I've used it with my own children since they were infants. Sorry, there's a large truck driving right by. So we use sign language a lot. So I teach that up front with my students to be able to teach them how to communicate with me. So like we might sign yes, or we would sign no. We also use it so that we can, especially with an ADHD brain that loves to interrupt, we sign with me too or same so that we can have that connection piece without all the constant verbal interruptions. So for children who need opportunities or support with their own speech, I want to make sure that I communicate with them in the way that they need and also that they can communicate back to me. So I love to incorporate sign language. I've also done opportunities where we just draw pictures, even something as small as carrying around a whiteboard where they can be able to draw a picture of what they're thinking or wanting. I even have a student who currently struggles with some communication about what they're needing and feeling, and they point at pictures to help them be able to show how they're feeling. Maybe they're feeling mad, and then I can ask them questions, or they even kind of act it out where they're pointing and kind of showing parts of their body. So something I always want to do is meet the child where they're at and then support them through that. So I hope that answers that question.
Very helpful. Thank you. It looks like Megan is raising her hand. Megan, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, or would you prefer to put it in the chat?
I don't know how to put it in the chat, but I was wondering what type of are books going to be read at every camp, all the different types?
Good question. And hi, Megan. I don't know if I've met you, so thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Are books going to be read at all different camps? That's a really good question. I believe, I'm honestly going off the top of my mind. So if you're okay with it, I would like to find out for sure, and I can meet with you directly or put it in our emails. But I believe that every single camp will have a read aloud at some point. I typically enjoy starting the camps off with our walk, and then we have a community circle where we greet the directions. We're grateful for being there that day. We can talk about things that we're excited about to do that day. We kind of go over the agenda for the day so the kids have that in their mind. And during that, I oftentimes like to be able to do a story with the kids. Additionally, with the way that I've structured the week is that we will have times where the kids are just exploring and having free time in the woods, but then I will bring some small groups to me. So maybe like 4 to 5 kids. And that's when we'll do more of like a lesson. So if especially like we're studying biomimicry or studying the life cycles, that's when we would do the read aloud more, where I'm like reading the book with them more of a close level. And then they're making like the project that goes with it. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
Okay.
I have another one too.
Go ahead.
How many, like, will we know who, like, the advisors? I'm assuming you would be there every week.
Mhm.
How many people or who would be there with the kids?
Oh, yeah. So that's a really great question. And I'm just going to be totally vulnerable and honest right now. I have a lot of experience in this and I love it. And when I find connections with people, it works amazingly. But right now, I am doing this by myself. I don't have anyone that I've hired. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the right fits to hire. I'm also looking for the right fits for volunteers. Once we have volunteers or hires, we will definitely announce those people and kind of have like a bio so that you know who those people are. Additionally, I will be there as the lead and everyone will be there to support me. So I'm looking for those best fits, but I'm also looking for what makes the most sense. Right now, we don't have full weeks of camp. So I myself can handle a group of 7 kids and I don't need anyone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And with like the volunteers, are you going to do background checks or what kind of qualifications?
100%. So we already have that in our, like I've presented that to the board. I presented that to like my host site partnerships and especially to our insurance policies. We will do our full background checks. We have a full youth protection policy so that the children are our safety for the children is our priority. So we'll be doing all of those things. We'll do a full interview process to see what people's background and like what their abilities are in terms of coming to camp and things like that.
Okay, cool. Do
Yeah.
you do anything like faith-based at all?
No, these would not be faith-based.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, no problem.
Michael, I was just going to add that for the question about books and stories,
Yeah.
from my experience of teaching with you, I know that you do a lot of oral storytelling in nature as well, whether that's like you telling stories or the students telling stories. So I just thought that was a cool and important piece to add in as well.
That's a great one. So we love to do the practice of snack and story. And so after the kids have had time to go and explore kind of more independently, we all come back together as a community and they eat snack and then share their stories together. And then we listen to each other's stories of what they did while they were exploring. And that's a really great remembrance, Kirsten. But you're right, that would be an oral story that the kids share of their own, which ties in really well with our nature and theater.
Awesome. Okay, it looks like Stephanie, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
Hi, yeah, that actually ties into my question of what kind of food do people have to bring, like snacks, meals, and then, we mentioned about mud, change of clothes or anything like that.
Good question. That's great. So I think those are some really key components is one, we will be in nature. So kids will get muddy, kids will get messy. That's kind of what most likely what happened. So I think honestly, what your child best, if your kid would need to change because they themselves would be uncomfortable being in muddy clothes all day, for sure do that. If you as a parent would prefer to have your kid not get in the car muddy, then plan for that. Maybe have a towel or a trash bag for your kid to sit on in their car seat. Or if you would prefer them to change before getting in the car, definitely we can accommodate that or make that happen for you. In terms of food, we will ask everyone to bring a water bottle every single day. We will have water fill up stations. And also we will have everyone bring a packed lunch to make sure that each kid has a packed lunch. If your kid specifically has some dietary restrictions, then also provide 1 or 2 extra snacks. Wild Roots, we will provide 2 snacks. So we will provide a morning snack and we will provide an afternoon snack. But if you want to provide that, then please do that. Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Sonia, you are next.
Glad you're here. I can't wait to respond to your email.
I sent a long email about my son, and I'm still not sure if I should send him.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just concerned that because he has difficulty with fine motor skills and not being able to initiate tasks. Like if he's in the first week of camp and everybody's working on the dry clay model. He loves to do pottery and things like that, but he has difficulty following directions, like if steps are given to him. So I was wondering that I can send one of my sitters to be with him during the camp to assist him with things that require following steps, directions, and staying on task.
Of course, 100%. I am always going to support that. If that's going to be the best fit for your child and your family, then for sure, we will definitely support that and be happy to have that there. Additionally, along what you're saying is, even though we might be doing something together as a camp, we are not going to be a classroom. We are not going to be sorry, someone's mowing the lawn outside.
We can't hear it.
Can you still hear me?
No, we can hear only you.
Okay, good. Okay, good. I can hear it. So I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we are not a classroom. So right now in my traditional classroom, I have an expectation that right now we're doing writing. And so everyone is doing writing. That is not something I even enjoy as a teacher. I am a Montessori teacher, meaning that I prefer children to have choice. I prefer to give a lesson and then the children choose when and how they accomplish those things. I'm a collaborator. Let's discuss how this looks for you. So especially during summer camp, when I'm offering an opportunity, it is an offering and they can choose to do it or not to do it. So if your child wants to do clay, that is offered to you right now. And your child can choose to make the clay how they want to. As a total artist, as a total independent human person, and they can make it however they want. I will not ever, because I don't do this, I will not ever say, this is what we are all making, and you are expected to make it all the way to the end product. Even when making a bird feeder, I will offer the options, and I will say, if you want to make one, here's what you can do. And if you do not want to make one, that is fine. You can continue to explore and continue to do what you want to do. So that's why it's offered as offerings, where I can say to the kids, these are your two choices. You can continue to explore in nature in this way, and we'll have someone making sure that you're safe. Or if you want to come to the lesson, this is what we're going to be doing together. I'll show you how to do it. And if you want to try it, that's great. But if the kid watches me do it and they're like, I'm fine, then they can leave. And I will not.
Yeah, he would love to do it, but I can see him, because of his ADHD, just missing the start of the session altogether and being lost in a different activity and missing the cue for starting of an activity, and then realizing when everyone is almost finished that, oh, I wanted to make a bird feeder. It's too late now.
So in those moments, which happens all the time, again, my two children also have ADHD, and I love working with ADHD brains, especially in this type of capacity, is when a child then realizes, oh, that's a missed opportunity. Then we can talk about, well, when can it happen for you? Could we get these materials out in a couple more hours and then you get to do it? Could we get it back out tomorrow and you can do it? So there is never. It kind of feels maybe unstructured, but honestly, it's more about me listening to the kid and what the kid is expressing, and then me saying, okay, let's make that happen for you. Or that it's a kind of a build on throughout the week. So I've had kids who are actually terrified of nature, who start the week of camp. They are terrified to be in that spot. But at the end of the week, they're the ones unrolling the log and finding the earthworm, or they're the ones who have learned to climb the tree on their own and they want to now do it. So really it's also about observing other kids. Well, now the kid another child did this, and now I want to try it too. So just kind of creating an experience where we're learning all together, but no one will feel left behind or left out. And if they do, then we talk about it and figure out how to support them for the next time or the next day or whatever that looks.
That sounds great. Yes, that really answers the question. I just, yeah.
Good. And also I can email you privately. I apologize. I haven't done that yet.
That's okay. I'm just, he loves to be in nature. He has been out since the weather has been good. He does not, he's a different child outdoors. I mean, you cannot tell that he has autism or anything when he's out. And he's just, nature brings the best out of him. He can really succeed in your camp. It's just the concern is that he has difficulty with speech. He won't be able to express if he forgot his lunch, or he tends to lose everything because of his forgetfulness. So that's why I thought that maybe I can come in for a few hours instead of a sitter and just help him acclimate to the camp. And then maybe the second day he can come on his own.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. No, that's exactly what I'm trying to fit. Everything you said, I agree with 100%. When you talk about your children and how they might be, especially in a traditional classroom, they are not going to be that way outside, especially in our Wild Roots camps. It just isn't the same thing. because a lot of those things that are overstimulating to a child in a traditional type space are gone in nature, and they will have
Exactly. Yeah.
more
Mhm.
autonomy, and a
Mhm.
lot of those opportunities where even in terms of conflict resolution with a peer, like they're fighting over a stick, we're able to really work on how to resolve those things together instead of having that, like, well, we can't, in a traditional classroom, you can't always meet those needs. And so that's something that I love doing, especially in nature with kids.
Yes. Well, this is a wonderful opportunity. We are really excited to go.
Thank you. I'm excited too. Thanks for chatting with me about it. What other questions are we having?
We have another question. How do you introduce dangers in nature, like poison ivy, for example?
Oh, that's a great one. Poison ivy one. I first, by identifying it, I teach them the turtle model. So if you, as an adult, I can't do it with my hands in this picture. Let me try it like this. So if you look at the leaf of a poison ivy leaf, it looks more like a turtle, where it has the two little like side hands, and then it goes into a rigid point. So one, we just practice identifying it. We can have pictures and we can look at it. Two, we also practice safety. So we will have things in our safety first aid kits to help with bug bites, help with bee stings, help with first aid things, help with ticks, help with splinters. And we'll have that in our waiver where you're allowing us to be able to treat your child. Or if you prefer not, we can make sure that they just get home and we give you that information. But yes, finding those safety things. We talk a lot about ticks, and we do not practice killing any type of insect or creation, but ticks we allow because ticks cause a lot more harm than we want to be able to endure. And so I will teach them how to avoid that, how to do tick checks. In terms of other creatures, even with mosquitoes, I teach them about reciprocity and the fact that we as people are part of a full life cycle. And so even watching an insect, if you wanted to watch a mosquito being able to like take some of your blood, you could choose to push it away so it doesn't, but you could even choose to just observe that. And I've had kids who've actually wanted to do that. Where thanks for coming, Sonia. I totally understand. Let's email back and forth. I don't remember where I was. I was lost in train of thought. So I hope I answered the question about dangers.
You were talking about the mosquitoes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, yeah. So anyway, we just talk a lot about when we are in a space, we want to respect that space because it's us being in that environment, and so we don't want to cause any harm. And what does that look like? But then also noticing that sometimes we get hurt, sometimes things happen, and how do we go about being safe, and how do we care for ourselves when things like that happen?
Okay. I know that Sonia left, but she asked a question that I think might be helpful to have in the recording.
Okay.
She's asking about if her son would be able to come to camp at a different schedule. Like if he needed to start at 10 instead of 8:30, is that something that's okay?
Oh yeah, we would much rather support families to match their own schedule than we're not forcing anyone to live in any type of rigid schedule. So if it's best for you and your family that your kid arrives late, that's totally fine. The only thing we can't do is we won't adjust the pricing for that. So if you're still willing to pay for the full price, but you yourself want to arrive late or leave early or not come a day, that's totally fine. We would just communicate with you through text messaging or a phone call to say, here's where we are. We'll have a volunteer meet you at the gate. We'll let you in. Additionally, because all of our host sites are public, we would support to make sure that we get you exactly where to be, and that we get your kid and join him back in our group camp and what we're doing. But that's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I have a few more questions just that have been asked previously.
Okay.
And if anyone that's here live has any other questions that come up, just feel free to keep popping those in the chat, or you can raise your hand if that's better. The next question is, with the camp being nature-based and, the component of exploring, what about children who have challenges with the bathroom? How do you navigate that?
It's a good question. Bathroom is always a thing that we have to talk about. The way I've accommodated other students in the past is, one, we can bring a composting bucket specifically for bathroom needs, and have like a little tent for privacy so that kids have different ability. Also, when we're talking about ADHD brains, they have the ability to turn off that need of their body, and then not even realize like, oh, I have to go now. So we have a composting bucket for bathroom needs where we can also set up a tent for privacy. So it happens on the spot. That would be only for more emergencies, so it's not happening all the time. At each of our host sites, we do have a public bathroom that we will be able to take groups out, again, with the volunteers that we'll have vetted and background checked. Our volunteers, our staff would be able to take small groups to be able to use the bathroom. Anybody who has some needs, so things I've done in the past, kids who need like have more frequent accidents, we've set even timers where we can say every 30 minutes we're just going to try to use the bathroom to help with that, especially when we're doing a preferred activity like exploring nature. It can be hard to remember that going to the bathroom is important, but we will also be drinking lots of water because that is essential, and so therefore we will also need to go to the bathroom. So we try to do in those ways. Other additional concerns, for example, if your child were to have difficulty feeling comfortable, I've had families, even we discuss using pull-ups or something that whatever you are comfortable with your child, we will make sure that we can have that happen during camp.
Awesome. Okay, another question for children that are maybe less experienced being in nature. For example, you've talked about tree climbing. How do you support children that are maybe experiencing a fear of that and still allowing them to participate, but in a way that feels comfortable to them?
Yeah, even when I'm thinking about my own two children, they are both more observers. So they would prefer, both of my two kids will sit back and observe and watch. And then once they've observed and they've watched several other kids try something and they're feeling kind of more confident, then they will go for it. But neither one of my kids are going to be the first ones to jump in and do something. So that is important, is the observer child is as engaged as the one actively doing it. So if your child is saying that they watched other kids climb trees and they didn't, that is also good because they're watching it and they're actively learning how it happens. Additionally, I teach kids about risk management. So listening to their own body, listening truly to what their body is telling them in terms of risk. So if they themselves are not comfortable doing something, one, I will never force them to. I will invite them. I will teach them how, but I would never force them to. But then let's truly listening to their own bodies about what feels good and what feels comfortable. We also talk about that in terms of consent, about what we consent, allowing people to touch our bodies and also how we touch nature and how we touch other people. So we do that in terms of listening to our bodies. Thirdly, I don't know what step I'm on. I do not ever put a child in an uncomfortable position. As for example, I would never ever put a child in a tree, because then a child is not listening to their body. They're just trusting me as the adult who took over and put a kid up there. The only thing I would offer to them is one, either like a chair or a bench that we scooch up to the tree base, so that if the child wanted to use that stool or chair as like a step stool, so that they could climb on it, stand on a firmer foundation that's just taller, so they can reach the branch and then pull up or like shimmy up. Or the only other thing I would offer is my own knee. So I do this one often where I put my own knee as the base, and then I do not touch them. They're just literally using my own knee as a step stool so that they can lift the ground higher up, so that they can stand on my knee and then reach the branches and climb up. So again, I am not putting them in the tree. I'm using my own body as a step stool. Along those lines, especially in terms of tree climbing, we talk about the safety risk. And so one of my safety risks is that they could possibly fall out of the tree. Again, because they're listening to their own body, I've never had a kid fall out of a tree because they're listening to themselves of how far comfortable up they can climb. But we talk about how they might feel unsafe at a certain height. And so I, as the adult or whoever the adult is watching, I need to be able to reach their last foot. So wherever their last foot is, I need to be able to touch it with my hand. And so sometimes I might come around and just do a check. My kids who are feeling super confident and comfortable in tree climbing, I might come around and just do a little check where I say, oh, I can't touch that foot, bring that back down. But kids who are feeling nervous and uncomfortable, they're probably not going to go past my hand because they're not comfortable. Again, I've never had a kid fall out of a tree. I've had a kid who felt uncomfortable and felt that they were stuck. And so then I just come down and now I am that spotter. I'm under them. They know that I'm there. And then I help guide them down. So maybe I'm holding their hand, like I have my hand there so that they can physically put their foot in my hand and I'm just bringing them back down. I've never had a child who couldn't get out of a tree. They just might feel a little bit uncomfortable while they're there and just need to be remembering I'm there to support them and help them get out. That was a tangent. I hope I answered that question.
No, I think that was very helpful.
As you can
Okay.
see, this is how I talk as I just go on and on.
It's great. You're providing so much context. I feel like it's really giving a picture of how camps are.
Glad.
How would you handle ozone days if there is extreme heat?
That's a really good question. That's why with our partnerships with our host sites, we really focused on each site also has some sort of an enclosure, like a pavilion, so that if we have any extreme weather days, we have a place where we can be more protected inside. If it comes down to like a super unsafe day, we will communicate that with you all. Our last resort is we would never really want to ask anyone not to come to camp. We don't want that to happen. But if it's a state mandate that we can't be outside, then obviously we need to comply to that. But in terms of any type of weather, we have an indoor facility that we can use, and then we would have more inside activities that day. Obviously not ideal, but it does come down to safety for those things. We will also do our best to, one, we talked about water. Two, we want to have as much shade as possible. And then three, for some really more hot days, we can have like some spray bottles, like misting spray, so that we can just kind of wet ourselves down to cool off as well.
Okay, I have one more question on my list and then we'll make sure that there's no remaining questions. So with the age range being from 4 to 12, how do you accommodate meeting the needs that might be so different from a 4-year-old to a 12-year-old? And just how does that dynamic work?
Yeah, so it's a question people ask me often because I think a lot of times people have an assumption that means that kids will be broken off into a different group, and that will actually that's actually not going to happen. We will have groups all together as a homogenous mixed age range group, and that might feel different for some families who aren't maybe familiar with specifically the Montessori model, where I'm a Montessori practitioner. And the reason that the beauty of mixed age ranges is because, one, we are able to establish a really robust community. When you have mixed ages of multiple ages, we now have younger friends who are in that new, this is all new and novel, and they have that more like, what are these small little things, and everything is exciting and new to them. And then we have our older friends who are now more experienced and have a leadership ability. And it's really beautiful to see those older friends coming down to want to support and love on those younger friends and encourage. We really thrive on creating a community type feel. We have a rule that no one does more work than any other person. Every person is contributing or helping. One person might be strong enough to carry the water bucket, and so they have two hands on the water bucket. Another friend is going to carry their water bottle and their lunch bag. So every person is contributing in some way as part of a community. We're all contributing. We're all doing this together. And so then when we have those mixed age ranges, it really allows for more of a family type, a community type feel where everyone is supporting one another and everyone is learning from one another. If a kid is wanting to build a fort, now you have different ages and different sizes so that you can carry those stronger logs and work together to lift up and build. An older friend who might be stronger can notice the beauty in a smaller friend who could be able to go underneath something to get a desired thing that they're wanting to be able to create that fort together or have lunch together in a space. So because with working with mixed ages, I love seeing older friends truly become best friends with younger friends and just how lovely that can be. I don't know if it was a question.
Yeah, that was really cool, really helpful. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'm going to put our email address in the chat. So if anyone has any questions that they think of later, you can email us at team@wildrootesnbl.com. I'm the one that's viewing the emails there. And if there's something that comes through that you're wanting to have Michael respond to directly, just let me know in your email and I'll make sure that that message gets to Michael. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and answer the questions that come through there.
That sounds good.
And
Thank you.
yeah. Michael, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, one, let's decide our winner. And
Mhm.
two, let's remember our discount code. So again, if you're watching now or you're watching the recording, please use the May Q&A, right, Kirsten? May Q&A.
Mhm. Yep.
Thank- the May Q&A discount code to get the $40 off each week of camp. And again, that's only going to work for this week. So until Saturday, May 17th. We love answering questions. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable about what we're offering. So please do reach out, like Kirsten said, to the team email site, or you can even email my personal one if that's what you'd prefer. I don't think go ahead.
Yeah, there's no silly question. I mean, this is your children, and we understand that there's a lot of different questions that come up. It might be more general, it might be more specific to your family and your child, and just feel free to reach out if there's anything that we can do to help you come to clarity about whether Wild Roots Camp is the right place for your child.
Yes, definitely.